So hi guys, today I'm going to video about the summary of the chapter 3, which is the network protocols and communications. So rather than developing unique and separate system for the delivery of each new services, the network industry as a whole has adopted a developmental frameworks that allows designer to maintain them. So within this chapter, you will learn about these models as well as the standards that make networks and how the communication occur over a year. So we have here the communication fundamentals. So the communication, it begins with the message or informations that must be sent from a source to destination. So the sending of this message, whether by face-to-face communications or over a network, is governed by rules called protocols. So these protocols are specific to the type of communication method um, occurring in our day-to-day personal communication. So the rules we use to communicate over one medium, like a telephone call, or not necessarily the same as the products for using another medium, such as sending a letter. So as you can see in here, it is the human communication. So in the human communication, we have the message signal message. So message source to transmitter to transmission medium to receiver, and lastly message destinations. But before that, we have the role of the establishment. So the protocol must account for the following requirements, like an identified sender and receiver, common language and grammar, speed and timing of delivery, and the confirmation or acknowledgement requirements. So also in so as you can see in this role establishment and um message encoding. So like encoding also occurs in computer communication. So encoding between hosts must be in appropriate format for the medium. So message sent across the networks are first converted into bits by the sending lost. So each bit each bit is encoded into a pattern of sounds like way what like light waves or electrical impulses depending on the network media. So over which it is which the bits are transmitted. So there are also a so you can see in here we are also have so but before that there are also a message size. It's another rule of communication size when people communicate with each other. So the message that they send are usually broken into small parts or sentences. So these sentences are limited in size to what the receiving person can process at one time. So as you can see in this graph, we have here the um, message encoding for the as you can see in this protocol, so you have here the message encoding, message delivery options, message formatting and encapsulations, message timing and message size. So already say what's on the message size. So for the message timing, there are um rules of engagement for the message timing, which is the first one is access method and flow method, response timeout. So for the access method, so the access method, it determines when someone is able to send a message. If two people at the same time or collision of information occur, and it is necessary for the two to back off and start again. So, and for the flow control, timing also affects how much be sent and speed that it can be revealed. So if if the person speaks too quickly, it is difficult for the other person to hear and understand the message. So in network communication, so the source and destination host are follows control method of negotiate correct timing for successful fundamentals. So you have here the message encoding. So for the message encoding, it is one of the first steps to sending a message to encoding. So encoding is the process of converting information in another acceptable form. So for the transmission, so decoding reverse this process in order to interrupt the information. So the message formatting and encapsulation. So in this chapter, a personal letter contains the following elements. So the first one is the identifier of the recipient. So then the message content, the closing phrase, and the identifier of the sender. So in addition, having the same correct format, most personal letters must be enclosed in a envelope for delivery. So the message size. So another rule of communications is when people communicate with each other, so the message that they send are usually broken up small parts or sentences. So for the next one is we have the message timing. So for the message timing, I already tackled that. So let's go for the, as you can see, we have here the unicast. So for the unicast, it is so we have here the message delivery option, which is the unicast, multicast, and the broadcast. So as you can see in here, it is the multicast, which just that person will just um communicating with one person. So that is what we call unicast, just like in our cell phones or laptop. And then the multicast, it's where um, you and the selected groups of people that you're trying to communicate will be the only one who's going to send or communicate with you. And for the last one, we have the broadcast. So in broadcast, it is where all of the people that you have chosen are going to talk to. So all of the people are going to talk to. If you don't know how to answer or how to find that um letter or something. So conversation protocol suite. So there has a it uses a common language. Wait your turn and signal when finished. Also for the protocol interaction, it uses the HTTP, TCP, IP, and Ethernet. For the electronics and communication standard organization, we have the IEEE, EIA, and TIA, and the ITU-E. So in this figure, you can see that you have here the application, presentation, session, transmission, network, data link, and physical, which is connected to the applications, HTTP DNS, DHCP FTP, and the transport, which is the TCP UDP. Um, just that's and for the IPv4, IPv6, ICMPv4, ICMPv6, and for the PPP, which is the from relay Ethernet. So we have also the for that we have also so as you can see it is most widely used network models. So the most commonly used network model are the OSI and the TCP or IP models associating with protocols that set the rules of data communication with the different specific points at databases across LANs and WANs. So that's all for the chapter 3 summary. Thank you guys for watching.